Back in book 1 of Sailing Adrift, we completely refit our 1972 vintage sailboat in our driveway. And then we splashed it into the Columbia River. And guess what? It floats. So now we're gonna move aboard and live our lives on the water. Last week we took on a fairly significant project, and that was installing our headliner.
Can you hold that?
Yes,
Okay.
I am Samson. We got a really good start, and it all just sort of came together. But then we decided to take a brief intermission and take advantage of the weather for some sweet sailing action. And boy, were we glad we did, because that trip was perfection. Back to work this week as we finish up our headliner project. I'm pretty sure I failed to mention this before, but we elected to insulate the ceiling with 1-inch polyiso, which gives us an R value of 6. This project doesn't stop in our galley. Oh no, we're doing it all. Let's check in with Chris, who's working away in the aft cabin.
Working on the insulation in the aft cabin now on the ceiling. We've already insulated the whole hull. I've got quite a technique going. First of all, I make a giant mess of our bed, but Kelly said that's okay because she can like pull off the sheet and then shake it into the dumpster and put it back. So I got permission for that. I just had to take all the pillows off. You've got to get it up into its little space. That just requires a bit of walking around. Once we get those in place, that's the first one. We'll be ready for sealing. I did have to order that product, and I got to find a way to get 4x8 sheets from the manufacturer or distributor person all the way up here. I think this is what Kelly was talking about when she was saying that she didn't want her house to be a construction zone. Look at this place. What a mess. But look at this ceiling. Trimmed out, done. I saved the forward area is all done as well now, and I saved putting on all the little decorative screw heads for Kelly because she likes to do that. But there it is. There is the finished pilot house headliner. Next up, we're gonna head down to the aft cabin. I've already pretty much got that template made up, and so all we need to do is pull that down off the ceiling, go outside, trace it onto the headliner material, the expanded PVC, and cut it and install it. Should be a snap. Will only take me just a minute. Just kidding, dude. This was like a 3-day process.
Which means we've been living and will continue to live in a construction zone for a little while longer. Yep, this is our lives now. The new normal.
We do have one more trim piece to do, and I've been trying to figure out how to do this best. I think I've got a plan. I've cut this to the right angle, and you can get it hot, but you get it nice and hot, and it does two things for you. It gets pliable so you can bend it back on itself. The little PVCs get melty and it sticks to itself, so it ends up doing this. This is my test piece.
Oh, that turned out nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do for these little corners. And then we'll just attach the screw pointed level with this one, and it should look real nice. Time to put in the headliner.
Welcome to our bedroom, the aft cabin. We carefully bent the sheet of PVC through into the cabin, and then started fitting it into place. We switched from more rigid 1/4-inch PVC to a flexible 1/8. And as an added bonus, it can be cut with a utility knife. Turns out, boat construction is very similar to a CrossFit routine.
My body's fatigued from doing this for days.
I bet.
Oh great, now it's hanging. Great. No, you were holding it up before. You just have to stay there for all of time.
That sucks. Oh.
And Kelly, what do you think?
I think it looks great.
One more?
One of us.
This is the one. This is the big beaver. I feel like there's gonna be like a giant gap in the middle. Well, that was a mistake, but one I can rectify.
Rectify?
Yeah.
That's not a word.
Yeah, it's where you fix it with your butt.
Oh.
We need more screws, so I'm gonna bring them to you.
Okay.
I then got all the screws assembled with washers and caps to make the process a little less time consuming for Chris.
Look at all the ones that go on the ceiling in here.
You're on the ceiling?
Okay, now we're ready for the other half of the headliner, on the port side.
That's not an option. Talk to me, Goose.
Can you pull it towards you?
Not really. Needs to come forward. I fixed that. How are you looking?
That looks much better.
Finally, now we can start fastening this into place. Then Chris carefully carved out the excess at the perimeter. Now, let's take a quick breather, then go take the trash out, and head over to Lowe's for our obligatory hardware run of the day.
Are these the ones?
Those are them.
Okay.
That's all we had to get.
That's it?
Well, yeah.
And we're back. Back to work on that aft cabin headliner.
This magic moment.
It's turning into a bit of a mess.
What?
Nothing?
What did you say?
What are you working on?
I've been struggling to figure out how to trim out this hatch. This is what I've come up with. I took some of the ceiling product. This seems pretty obvious, but I don't know. It bends really well. You see that, Kelly?
Yep.
It's floppy dongy.
It's floppy dongy.
So you just put it in there.
Uh-huh.
You make a nice trim piece underneath the lip of the unit.
Oh, I see that. Sweet action.
And then put a screw in it. And then we'll be able to trim it all out.
Cool.
I didn't want to do the whole 360, so I'm using two pieces to create two C's. Copacetic mirror image C's for Chris.
Why not do the full 360?
Because, Kelly, I didn't have a piece long enough for that.
Oh.
Any other questions?
Chris then cut the PVC headliner using our hatch as a guide.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. How's that look?
That looks great. This is a nice angle of your crotch.
It's $1 million money shot right there.
Here's the money shot. You did it.
I feel like we're at a good stopping point for the day. How about a quick sail? Chris's parents are in town this week, so we're gonna take them out for a day sail.
Ready? We got
Ready?
some passengers.
Yeah.
Some stowaways today. Ahoy! Captain Chris. Kelly's the captain. Yeah, Kelly?
Unfortunately, the conditions weren't ideal. It was your typical winter day here in the Pacific Northwest. But if anything, it was a good excuse to test our autopilot and radar on the water for the first time. And of course, spend some quality time with Chris's parents while they're in town.
Are you guys ready to go? Everybody in a fun spot? Ready. Yeah.
Once we got out, our first test was our autopilot. So far, it seems to be working great.
Kelly?
Yeah.
We should officially be on autopilot right now.
How do we know?
We don't, but it is following the little path so far, so it could just be a coincidence, but it feels like it's doing something, doesn't it? What do you guys think? I think we're sailing adrift. We are adrift. No one is helping unless the autopilot is doing so. What do you think, Mary?
I think it's good. I'm enjoying it. Whether it's working or not.
It feels like it's doing now. I think the autopilot's working. All right, it might do something crazy, so hold on.
Holding.
Here we go. All right, I think I'm figuring it out. I activated this waypoint, and now we're swinging around to go over there. With an autopilot, you're no longer in charge of steering the boat. The autopilot does it for you, just like a Tesla.
The other system we needed to check on was our newly installed radar.
Check it out.
Avoid these pilings.
On your radar too. Yeah, look at the radar, like light up the coast. Oh, the systems are working! Finally! You do not believe the struggle that I've had with all these stupid systems. It's been ridiculous. Networking and plugging it in. Look at all these connections I had to make this all work.
Yeah.
I have 2 Wi-Fi connections and a hard Ethernet connection, and only one of the Wi-Fi connections is actually internal to this tablet.
We had a little win that day, so we figured might as well put the sails up.
All right, you're steering.
Careful, Mary.
I'm probably just paranoid, but I live in constant fear of our boom bashing someone's brains in. And I really do love my mother-in-law.
And we're cruising along at 3.8 knots, of which at least 1.6 is our power.
I don't even feel like we're moving.
We really are. Look at the side. You could walk faster than that.
So how are you gonna fix your,
Our Starlink? Oh yeah, we had a slight minor casualty when the brain-bashing boom swung into it earlier. Which sucks because this sweet little unit is how I'll be able to continue working while we're out. And my work is funding our journey at the moment.
Minor casualty. Boom.
Well, despite this tiny collision, we had a lot of wins today with our other systems. Our autopilot and radar seem to be working great, and we got to spend some quality time with the family and show them the ropes. Now that we're back in the marina, let's fix our Starlink.
And for a while there, we had it in a old fishing rod holder that mounted to the rail here. But when we went sail downwind, we knocked it pretty good.
Yeah.
And ripped this all up. I was able to repair it, so you can't really even tell.
We had a fun jibe.
Yeah.
And the Starlink went crunch.
And then my mom was on board, and she's like, "Oh no, your what'd she say? Your solar panel."
Yeah.
I'm like, I look back. What? What's happening to the solar panel? And she's like, I mean your internet. And then I look over, and this is all bad.
Yeah, that's sad.
Anyway, so we got this. This is a new rod holder that we're gonna mount up here, and then Starlink will live right here, which should be under the boom. So if we can get it to work here, it should work in any orientation.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Godspeed.
Thank you.
How's the progress?
Pretty good. I got the faceplate mounted. We had to do a bit of surgery because the Starlink didn't quite reach all the way down to the bottom, and I didn't want to cut this off not knowing what was going on down there, so I cut this off.
Okay.
But I figured, once we put the Starlink in, this is like for a fishing pole, so it's designed to be yanked on. We're not going to do that, but we're also we'll have the reinforcement of the actual Starlink shaft.
Cool.
So this will go in like this and kind of pop out the bottom a little bit. Sit in there nicely. I added a couple of set screws and I tapped them so that we can pinch down on the Starlink to hold it in place. We'll kind of treat this like you would your dinghy. If you're going on a short hop, you might pull your dinghy along behind you rather than pull it back up on the davits and all that stuff. This, if we're going on a short hop, we might just leave this in place. But if we're really going on a long passage or an open ocean, we'll put it in that spot, which is a lot more secure.
Okay. And what plugs that when it's not in there?
This does, Kelly.
Show the people.
It's a rubber plug.
Nice.
I drilled a hole to accommodate the wire going through. It still drips a little bit, but not enough to be annoying.
Boats. What can you do?
Better. There we go.
All right. Shake it. See if it works.
It's definitely stuck. I don't want to go crazy. Ended up through bolting the bottom ones, and then the top ones go into this piece of wood. There.
Cool.
That's it. Looks pretty good too.
Yeah, it does. Sharp.
Professional. I don't understand why all these people are like getting like machined mounts and stuff like this. Why not just use a rod holder with a little bit of like this is a seal for like they call it a bulkhead seal for plumbing. That sits down in there nice and tight, watertight, and then you just use some set screws.
We'll find out.
What do you mean we'll find out?
He said, why don't people do this?
Oh, we'll find out why they don't?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it makes a nice table. You can set your coffee on top.
That's a good idea.
Speaking of good ideas, here's a great one.
Tonight I was planning on making yakisoba noodles, but the barbecued pork we're going to use is frozen. So I had this brilliant idea that's probably a terrible idea. I'm going to dangle it into the river, still in this vacuum bag, and let the convection of the current rapidly thaw it. Despite the fact that the water's super cold right now, theoretically, look at this, kind of really shows you how strong the current actually is. But anyway, that water movement around there should thaw it and homogenize the temperature between the meat and the river, which should bring it up to about 40 degrees.
You're defrosting the meat.
Yeah, because convection is the best way to thaw meat. Either we could set it in the sink and run water over it, or I could just do this. I'm gonna check it in a half hour and see what happens.
Well, it's been half an hour. Let's go check on dinner.
All right, it's time to check on the pork, Kelly.
Okay, what do we got here?
It's thawed a fair bit.
Wow.
And it's not like, it's pretty thawed. That's impressive.
I am impressed.
Convection.
All I can say is dinner was delicious. Tune in next week to see how our headliner turned out and join us for another epic sail on the Columbia.
What do you say, Kel?
Yeah, let's practice this.
As always, thanks for watching. Now stay tuned for your complimentary blooper reel.
Nice hair, Chris. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm up on it, Kelly. I can see it all.
It's people that are annoying.
Like me?
No, not you.
I'm pretty annoying.
Well, you are annoying, but I'm fully aware of who you are.
Can you lay on your back and like use your feet too?
Our OnlyFans are gonna love the sailing.
Our OnlyFans? Are we starting that up?
Sure. You have feet. What happened to our Starlink?
Your scripted delivery is on point, babe.
Thanks. I know you mean that.